So Dan, I heard you watched The Dragon Prince
I watched
recently.
The Dragon Prince.
All right. I can't... You kind of blindsided me with this idea.
I'm like, hey, you want to talk about The Dragon Prince? You watched The Dragon Prince, right?
I did. I watched it like when it came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Do you remember anything?
Some. I liked it.
Me too. So hey, like,
Cool.
share, and subscribe.
No, let's get into it.
So what do you think? Like, so this is from the people, for at least some of the people that made Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
Like, what do you think of this being kind of touted by fans mostly as like the successor to that?
I completely agree. It feels very much like the spiritual successor to it. So much so that I wish they would deviate from the path more.
Yeah.
Like, it opens up with book 1.
Yeah, that is the most, like, in-your-face part of it.
Yeah. And it feels very much like season 1 of an Avatar show. Like, season 1 of Last Airbender was my least favorite, and Legend of Korra was pretty weak too. This feels a lot like they're introducing a lot of characters just to introduce them. And that's not a bad thing. Every show has to do that. And it feels like there's a lot of characters that are either going to become villains, or some villains are going to become heroes. All that kind of stuff that comes with an Avatar show.
It's very like we're setting the table so that we have stuff to eat later.
Yes, very much so. It's still very enjoyable to watch.
Oh yeah, really strong character writing.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done a really good job of establishing this world as like yeah, we're telling the story of like it's the most basic fantasy story ever, right? Of like, oh man, the humans versus elves, and there's a big war, and we have to take the magical thing to the special place so that MacGuffin and bad things won't happen anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we have to get the one ring over there. We have to get that sword out of that stone. Everything does this, but it works as a really good like starting point to give us these characters that we can start to care about.
Yeah. And what I liked about this one is that in Avatar it's always like they had the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation, the Water Nation, and the Wind Nation.
Yeah.
In this, it opens with like there are 6 types of magic, and it's like, oh, they're really hedging their bets.
Well, it's also like, yeah, there's the 4 normal ways you can get magic, and the 5th fucked up way that humans figured out how to get magic, and also there's like 7 or 8 human kingdoms, and that's on like the left half of this continent, and on the right half is this elf world where we've never seen anything, but it's apparently pretty great, and we don't know what their whole deal is or how far that goes. There's different types of elves we know, and all of it kind of like the simplicity of the conflict in season 1 is kind of just the top layer, because something that the king points out really well is, no, this shit's complicated. I can't just stop what's happening, because it's like it's basically become like a systemic problem at this point.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they're coming to cut my head off for it, and I deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, there is no quick fix here. Like, you drop the ring in Mordor, the bad thing's not going to go away.
Yeah.
We still have to deal with generations of people stabbing each other in the back. And it really, like, it kind of puts a lot of futility onto the actions of the main characters, which are these 3 children who just want to make a difference. They just want to change the world for the better, and think, oh my god, we found something that should be impossible. If we can just show that to the right people, this'll stop. We will reform society.
Yes. So basically, the backstory is that the humans were at war with the elves. And the elves are from, like, the world of magic, basically. So the humans went and they killed the Dragon King.
Yeah, there was, like, a giant dragon that was like kind of guarding the border between human and elf territory. So, no matter what happened, the fight could never get super bad because the dragon would like stop anybody from crossing.
Mm-hmm.
But then the humans use dark magic. I think specifically Viren, who is like this royal, left-hand man
left-handed man.
like what is it? The guy
who's
who's
the right hand of the king.
That's the thing.
Like the royal advisor.
Yeah, he's Jafar before the turn.
Yes.
So like the Dragon King is dead. Humanity also supposedly killed the dragon.
The Dragon Prince,
which was
just an egg.
Yeah, egg is poached, is great. And
they ate for days.
And now, like, there's been, like, this huge war brewing ever since. Mm. And the elves want to take revenge for what was done to the Dragon King and the Dragon Prince. So they're sending a group of assassins to get the king.
Yeah. And the king's children, who are Ezrin and Callum, kind of hear about this. Ezrin is kind of too young to understand. At this point, he is 10. Callum is 14, and according to this, 14 and 5/6.
What the fuck? And I don't know. I think this is like a gallery of fan art we're basing a lot of stuff off of, but like
the names are right. That's
we needed something that had their names and faces on it because I'm bad at names and I binge watch this show in a day. So it's gonna be months before it clicks with me. Like, oh yeah, Raela. Okay.
So Callum kind of hears about this, and King Harrow is trying to send his kids away. So he kind of understands what's happening. And, like, he tries to talk to the king and say, like, can't you just fight them? And King Harrow kind of goes, like, no, it's not that simple. Like, I kind of deserve this. Because he is the one that kind of gave the order to execute the Dragon King and the egg under Viren's advisement. So we do see the kind of headbutting between Harrow and Viren, how, like, it's ridiculous that you want to die for something that happened so long ago. You're a king, you need to rule your people. Something that I think is very important is Viren comes up with this plan. He brings in a 2-headed soul snake or something like that. It's dark magic.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, here's the plan. Alright, stick with me now. Any of these royal guards here would die for you. So, what we're gonna do, this thing is gonna bite you and bite anyone, whoever. And your soul will transfer into them. So they come in, they kill the king. Luckily, you're still alive. Everyone's happy. You can still rule. So that would essentially end the war. And he goes, no, I have to die for my cause. And he says, like, you're being stubborn. He says, any of these people would die for you. And he asks Viren, would you die for me?
And he just sort of leaves the room.
Yeah, he kind of hesitates, and he goes, get the hell out. Like, he said, you need to leave now. So, we see... this is kind of intercut with the elves. This kind of group of elves who are coming to assassinate the king. We don't know that at the moment that we see them. But there is one young female elf named Raela. And she is hired to...
sell ice cream outside my house.
I think it's fine. I think it's far enough away that's not being picked up. So she is... there was just a soldier walking down the street, and they say, take care of him. So she kind of hops off and tries to go. I don't know.
You're describing this very well.
Yeah, she's supposed to kill this guy. She doesn't have the heart to do it, so he gets away. But she puts... I really liked the scene where she's trying to convince everyone that she killed him. She puts, like, berry juice on her blade so they look bloody. And he goes, good job. And he goes, like, yeah, I used both of them. He's like, I can see that. So that's how the king knows that the assassins are coming.
Yeah, because, like, that guy got away.
Yeah.
And I love their name. They're, like, what are they? They're, like, moonlight elves, something.
Moonblade, I think. Something with blade. Moon something. We could easily look
Yeah, let's look at you look it up.
Okay, you keep talking. You had one job! job. So you're just looking at a picture. What are you doing? This was your idea.
Just look at what they're called. You can edit this part.
This is all staying in. Moonshadow Elf.
Moonshadow Elves, that is a great name.
So anyway, they all bind themselves. These elves, they have this kind of wrist binding ritual where they tie this magic tether around their wrists and chant, some magic words, and it tightens. And the only way to get this binding off is to complete the job that they all agreed to do.
And if you don't, it'll just keep tightening until, like, your limb comes off.
Yes. So, until the king and Prince Ezrin are killed, that thing will keep tightening, and she will lose her hand.
Yeah, and, like, that's how... Like, the boys don't know that their dad died, but she does because that band fell off.
Yes.
Which...
We haven't gotten to that point yet, but yes. So yeah, Raela, that young female elf we learn is Raela, she starts attacking the castle, and she finds Prince Callum. She starts attacking him, and they kind of just fight all around kind of the hallways, and she says, like, she kind of is sort of, as they're fighting, they're talking to each other, and she kind of explains that I'm here to kill you and Prince Ezra, and she says, like, you don't have to die, just point me in the direction of King Harrow or Prince Ezrin. And he goes, like, fine, I'm Prince Ezrin. So he's willing to die for him, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't want to actually kill anybody, but she wants to make up for her mistake, because by letting that guy go, it alerted the whole kingdom to their presence, which means their whole squad is probably going to die.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, no, I'm not going to let that happen. Also, I want to redeem myself, so let me just sneak in and do this job before they even show up.
Yeah. So she's getting ready to kill him. Then Ezrin, who is watching from behind a painting...
As you do.
like, coughs. He says, like, he interrupts. He says, like, hey, Callum, are you with a girl? And then he, like, opens the door and, like, they escape together, and she starts chasing them.
Well, I love how much of a plot point in this whole episode Cheetos fingers are.
Yeah, because he's eating Cheetos.
He's eating some kind of cake or something. His hands are messy. He keeps touching stuff and leaving bright orange handprints. And they get to this super elaborate, like, there's a stone wall that is an elaborate push button lock.
Yeah.
That he has to like it's like, oh yeah, hang on. I gotta get the number of presses and the stones right. So 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2.
No, what he's saying is rock, stone, rock, stone, stone.
Yeah.
And he goes, and Callum goes, what's the difference between a rock and a stone? He goes, you made me mess up. And then he does it again.
So they get down, it opens up a spiral staircase that he then seals behind them, and they're like, alright, this is great. It took me weeks to figure out how to do that. And then Raela opens it immediately, because she just kept pressing the stones that had the handprints on them.
Meanwhile, this is intercut with King Harrow and Viren. Viren goes into the king's chambers and apologizes and says, like, you were right. This was all a mistake. You're one of my best friends. I need to apologize to you. I was getting a little bit of, like, a romantic past from this scene.
Were you?
I was, yeah. That could just be me fan fiction looking into things. I really want them to be an old couple.
Well, King Harrow's age is daddish.
That's true.
According to this picture.
And look at Prince Viren's age. It's also daddish.
How would you know their exact day of birth, but not their age?
I don't know. So, King Harrow is not having it. His personality changed very quickly, and he is,
Well, I think he's reacting to the fact that, like, me giving this guy a pass so often is what got us here.
Yeah.
And it is this asshole's fault, but it's also my fault for letting it happen for so long.
Mm-hmm. And he forces him to stand on his knees, or get on his knees. Stand on his knees is kind of an oxymoron. And he says, this is where you belong, on your knees. Don't forget your place. And that's kind of the end of that scene. So Rayla is coming to kill Ezrin. Well, Ezrin, you describe the scene.
Well, Rayla is like backing them into a corner, and they're all like, "You don't have to do this." She's like, "Yes, I do. I have to get revenge for the Dragon King and the Dragon Prince." And then Ezrin says, "No, you don't. Look." And in like a closet is the egg of the Dragon Prince.
Yeah.
And they're all like, "What the shit is this? This changes everything." Rayla's like, "We gotta take this to the roof so that I can show my kill squad before they mow down all of you."
Don't worry, they're good dudes.
They're great.
Don't let the name scare you.
It's just a title.
I gotta show this to Killface and Scare Teeth.
Scare Teeth?
Yeah, he's great.
All right.
We're engaged.
God. Oh, man.
So...
Do you think their wedding rings are just those binding things?
Yes.
Man. So, on the way out, they get ambushed by Claudia, who is Viren's daughter. Mm-hmm. She is a delightful dark mage. And
she's the nicest dark mage you've ever met.
Yeah. She, like...
We should also mention that he also has a son named Soren.
Yeah, who I don't like at all. But...
I'm fine with him, actually. Okay. He's kind of a dick to Callum, but he kind of treats him like an annoying little brother.
Okay.
I felt there was an affection there. I did not mind him.
Okay.
He wasn't my favorite character, but
I think I don't like him because he, more than anyone else, is a vehicle for the humor in the show, and I think it's laid on way too thick, especially through him.
I felt that way about Ezrin. I thought he was very much just like an annoying, precious little kid, and like every time he said something, I was supposed to be laughing, and I just found him very annoying.
Like there's like a sarcastic, ironic quality to everything Soren says that kind of makes me just like I don't want to hear you talk about stuff.
Yeah,
anymore.
I never found him particularly funny, but it never bothered. I never thought like he was gonna end up being a villain, which is what I think we're supposed to think.
Well, I don't know. Well, we'll get into this a little more. Let's finish the setup
once we
here.
finish like summarizing the story.
So she is going to cast lightning to blow up the Rayla, and she's like, "Don't worry, I won't kill your brother." So like Callum like kind of pushes her to the side and puts her arm in a shackle.
Luckily, we're in Viren's torture chamber.
Yes. So the three of them get away while Claudia is trapped there, and she's kind of left to try and... She keeps trying to cast spells to get herself out before realizing the key is sitting on the table next to her.
Yeah. Also, she has... I forget what they call it, but it is like an orb that she casts spells from.
So basically, like you need nature to cast spells in this world, and that can be complicated, and you need to have the right conditions around you. Or you can do some dark magic shit and just put a storm inside a ball and carry the ball around, which is what she did. So now Callum has that ball.
Yeah. Rob Zachney described it really well on Waypoint when they were talking about this show, where this felt like a response to how Avatar did magic.
Yeah.
Where it's very much... people have magic inside of them and they're channeling it outward. This is you need physical items. And that's where the magic comes from. And people can manipulate that, but they're not the ones with magic.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
It's like, it's an external force and using it is hard.
Yes.
I also like the fact that usually in a show like this, the like main character hero boy would be your sword and shield guy. And at the beginning, Callum is being trained that way, and he sucks at it, and you're like, oh, well, he'll get over it later.
Yeah, he'll have the training montage throughout the season to get a little bit better.
And then, no, fuck it, he's a mage. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So they've got the egg, they're going to the roof, they run into... Runan? Who are
we looking at? Yeah, Runan, yeah.
Who is, like, the leader of the elf...
he's had Killface.
Yeah, he's had the Kill Squad.
Kill Squad, yeah.
He's wearing his Kill Squad t-shirt.
Yeah.
and he's like, hey, you... I forget what he says. But
why did you want to talk about this show? You are so bad at this.
I liked it.
You're like sabotaging my channel. We had this amazing conversation about FLCL over on Life 5, where you should go watch that. And then it's like, let's talk about the Dragon Prince, and you just stare at me in silence.
I figure you can carry a lot of this conversation. So, like, Raela's like, look at this. Look at this. And they show him the egg, and he is dumbfounded by it. And he's like, this changes... I mean, a little bit, but we're still gonna kill everybody. And she's like, no. And
he's like, well, they still killed the Dragon King. And you're like, yeah, they did.
It's like, I mean, granted, sure, but I mean, come on, we got this egg, let's go.
The most important thing is, like, he goes, like, you're being manipulated by humans. And then, like, Callum jumps out, he's like, no, she's not. He's like, come on.
And let me tell him, little brother. And his little brother walks out. So, Raela's like, all right, look, take the egg and get out of here. I'll cover you. And, you know, she's able to... There's this awesome moment where, like, the moon comes out and they're moonlight... What are they? Moon elves?
Moon shadow elves.
They're moon shadow elves, which means when the moon is full, they turn basically invisible. They basically become predator invisible.
Yeah.
Like, not totally. You can still see them if you're looking hard enough or if they're right in front of you, but, like, they're cloaked. Which is why, like, leading up to this, they realize, oh, moon shadow elves are coming, and it's a full moon tonight. We have no time, and we can't stop them. So they're both predator invisible, fighting, and he's like, you're gonna fight me? I'm going to kill you. And she's like, probably. And then they just start, and it's like a really cool fight scene.
And so Callum is trying to get the egg to his father, King Harrow.
Yeah.
Is he his biological father?
So he is Ezrin's biological father.
Okay.
They bring up throughout the season a lot that Callum is adopted. They never elaborate on what that means.
Yeah.
But they bring it up constantly, so it's got to be a thing later.
Okay. Yeah. So he's running and he's trying to get it to King Harrow, and then he gets kind of to the gates of the chamber, and he's stopped by Viren, who kind of comes out and says, you know, you're not welcome here. The king does not want to see you. And this is, you know, I know the will of the king. I just saw the king. Everything's fine. He's fine. Don't check on him. It's fine. And he goes like, you're not welcome here. He doesn't want to see you. He needs to be protected. And Callum kind of figures out that something's going on, and that's when the Moonlight Elves attack, basically.
Yeah.
Moon Shadow Elves, I should say.
And now, I honestly don't remember if they flat out said this in the show, or if it was just obvious in the show. He's in that fucking bird, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. I thought he switched bodies with Viren.
Oh, I hope not, because of things.
I thought so.
So what I think, because the reason Viren went back to the King's Chambers in the first place was because, like, okay, I know you don't want anyone else to give up their lives for you, but hear me out, I have an idea. And he never gets to finish.
Yeah.
I think what Viren did was, like, maybe even forcibly, he switched the King's soul with the bird.
I think it's gonna be a heel turn.
Yeah.
And he... the king kind of... Or maybe they agreed to it because Viren felt so shitty. I think they switched souls. And he's just been acting like a complete asshole this whole time. And he allowed Viren to die for him. And it's going to be revealed at the end, maybe they end up killing Viren or something, that it was the king the whole time.
That would be cool. I don't know. Like, that would require the king to know all this dark magic shit, though. So I don't know.
But I think he was there alongside Viren that whole time. Yeah. And now he's in a body that's capable of doing magic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much of a stretch.
Yeah. I still say he's in the bird.
I didn't even think of that. It will be interesting to find out. Because I thought, like, the way he was talking to Viren, like, in that scene, I was like, ooh, maybe he's going to be evil now. And then Viren was acting, I was like, ooh, he's in Viren now.
Because the easiest twist in the world is we don't see the king die, but we see the armband fall off of Raela.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, the king is supposed to be dead, but like there's enough wiggle room that they can say, "Oh yeah, he's in a bird now," or something, or like
I'm a bird now,
like you do.
Hello, Callum, I'm a bird now.
It worked for Animorphs.
Oh, when that guy got stuck in a bird, that was sad.
Yeah. That's all about the futility of war,
I know.
So now we've got our group on their quest to like cross...
Yeah, we should say Callum got out of there safely.
Yeah. All three kids are great. They have a glow frog. All hail the Hypnotoad.
Yes.
And now they're off to cross the Misty Mountains or whatever because they have to go to the dragon's house and give the mom back her egg. That's what's happening, right?
That's pretty much what's happening. And like they're all walking down. It's like they have the best defenses up there. I'm sure it'll be fine. Raela's like trying to console them. He's like, I'm sure your dad'll be fine. One of her braces falls off. He's like, that's nothing. Everything's fine. So she knows that the king is dead.
Yeah, well, they ask her at one point, hey, what's with that thing tied around your arm? She's like, nothing. It's decorative. Elf stuff, I guess. Elf stuff, I guess.
So they start heading to a nearby cabin. It's like a safe house.
It's the winter home that the king was going to send the kids to get them out of harm's way.
Yeah.
Except he was also arranging a lot of knights to meet them there.
Yeah.
Knights who, probably want to kill the shit out of Raela, and who knows how the current political regime feels about the kids.
We should also mention that the reason that they're heading there is because Callum can do magic.
Yeah.
He discovered this because Claudia sent hellhounds after them.
Yes.
And he panicked and held up the magic orb that she dropped and did a spell.
Yeah, and it's specifically, he was able to do it because he saw her do that.
Yes.
Like, he saw the motion she made with her hands and heard the word she said to activate it, which is the only reason he could do it. Like, later on, he tries casting the same lightning spell that she was going to zap Raela with, except she didn't get to finish it, so he knows how to, like, turn it on, but not how to throw it.
Yeah, so he's just shooting lightning out of his hands constantly.
He's like, I can't stop!
Yeah. And Callum's kind of a dick.
Kind of.
Yeah, Callum's a dick. Because she goes like, they're just shouting at him, trying to, help him stop this, and he just goes like, and like, he's just holding a ball that's emitting lightning constantly. He's like, I'm just gonna throw it at you. And she goes like, what do you mean? It's like a sitcom. It's like, what do you mean? Don't just do it. It's like, no, I'm just gonna throw it at you. And he just throws her this ball of lightning. And it just zaps her, but it stops.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because, oh man.
We'll get into it. So they go to the winter home. And so they're there because he is looking for this device that had a...
It's like covered with the same magic runes that he recognizes from something.
I think Raela mentioned it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes, okay, now going. For some reason, they send Raela in because I think she's a stealthy elf.
Yeah. Well, she said she's a stealthy elf. She says like, all right, look, stay here. I'll just be in and out with the box. Yeah. All right. And that's when their aunt shows up. This is General Amaya.
General Amaya.
And she is Callum's mother's sister.
Yes.
And like their mother is dead. Kind of like their dad. She's not a bird. She's really dead. And if this, like, I haven't interacted with very much fandom in the way of this show yet. Is she, like, everybody's favorite character?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't really interacted with everyone's fandom either, except for, I follow Danica Harrod on Twitter, who does the social media for this, and she seems to really like her.
She reminds me, she has qualities that remind me of Lin Beifong from Korra, Toph's daughter.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. Also, Soren and Claudia are very popular in the fandom too.
Soren.
The two
kids.
Viren's,
okay.
Kids,
I understand Claudia. We'll get back to Soren.
There's just a lot of like comics of them just like joking around with each other and stuff like that. Yeah.
But she shows up. She's an awesome character. She is... So, like... I don't know how to say this. She's deaf.
She's a deaf mute.
She's deaf in the best way.
That probably wasn't the best way to say it.
Like what I mean, like...
No, that was fun.
Like, in terms of how they portray...
Yes.
Because, so... She is deaf, she's mute. She is speaking constantly through sign language. I don't know sign language. I'm assuming that what she's doing is accurate. And, like, the sort of thing, like, if you know sign language, you could just look at what she's signing and follow it. And she has, like, her second in command who follows her around and translates for her. Like, just says what she's signing. But they make an absolutely crucial distinction in that he is translating for the troops and never for the audience.
Yes.
Because, like, they'll have a moment where, you know, when they're going to part ways, the two of them just sign at each other and it is never said what they said to each other.
Yeah.
Or when she has a moment where she's kind of saying a prayer at her sister's statue, it's just her signing, and if you know sign language, you'll know what she's saying in that scene. But, like, in any other thing, he would have been, like, hanging back, whispering what she was saying, so the audience would be on board with it, or there would be subtitles or something.
Yeah.
In this, it's like, no, because that's not for us, that's for these people. Like it's her moment with her sister, it's her moment with this trusted confidant of hers. Like, it's...
And it's never addressed, it's never pointed out like it's a disability or anything.
Yeah,
she is just she's badass.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene where at one point she's arguing with Viren, and he kind of turns his head and addresses someone else, and she signs, and like she's shouting, and the translator shouts, "You look at me when you're talking to me," because she needs to read his lips. And it's so powerful, and it's awesome. It's like, she's like saying, don't try to pull anything like that with me.
Or there's a part where, like, Callum starts yelling, and she signs back at him, like, you know yelling doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's that thing that we keep hoping for whenever we see, like an anime or a cartoon or something do, like, a halfway decent job of portraying something like this, where it's like, it achieves the normalcy that you want to see represented in this.
Yes. Yes, it's not even a thing. It's just she is deaf, and that's all it is. It's great.
So she shows up. She loves these kids. She's great.
Yeah.
And
they're just trying to not let them in the house. Because we should mention, she shows up with an army.
Yeah, because, like, I think when the king first finds out that the assassins are coming, his first thought is, well, recall the troops so that we can bolster defenses. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, they'll never get here in time. It's going to be tonight. So I think that's her and her army.
Yeah.
So instead, he has her go to this winter house
to protect the kids.
To protect the kids, because he's going to send the kids there.
Yeah. So it's a Three's Company episode of, like, why don't you look over here for a while?
Yeah.
And eventually they do go inside the house. And they're talking. I love the scene. It goes on for so long, it stops being addressed. Where he goes, like, there should be rations in the house, and they just find this old piece of bread, and they're trying to cut it, and Ezrin, General Amaya hands Ezrin her giant sword, and he's just sawing this old bread.
He can't lift the sword out of the table,
yeah.
So he just puts the bread on the other side of it, and just starts moving the bread up and down on the blade.
And Callum and her are just having a conversation as this is happening in the foreground. It's great.
God. But, yeah, so Raela's, like, trying to Metal Gear her way through this house, and she's going off of a map that Callum drew. Like, he drew a picture of the room she's looking for. She gets it. There's this great moment where she gets to the room, she holds up the drawing and keeps taking it up and down, and it matches up perfectly with the room, and she's like, that's okay, I guess. But she finds the box. They have to narrowly escape with their lives because she gets caught immediately.
Yeah.
And it like...
This is another segment of Callum being a dick.
Because because they're outside of the house, all three of them, and there's soldiers on each side. They want to kill Rayla. They want to save the kids. And Callum's solution to this is, I know, racism. he's just, instead of trying to say, like, no, here, let me explain. He goes, stop, you've heard the stories about elves. She'll drink our blood if you come any closer. And Rayla's just like, oh, yeah, man, yeah, fuck this. Yeah. She puts her knives to their throats and says, like, move, get me a helicopter, and $20 million.
If I see a cop, I will cut them. But unfortunately, it works.
It does.
And they get away, and General Maya sends a tracker after them. Like, a guy who can work in the shadows and just follow their trail.
Yeah.
So she is not happy with them. With Callum.
With Callum specifically.
Yeah. And says, that was really shitty what you just did. And he's like, but it worked! And that's kind of just the end of it.
Yeah, and then we spend an episode on a boat talking about how Rayla doesn't like the water.
Yeah.
And this episode felt the most like kind of stock sort of episode.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh man, we're on a boat for this episode and somebody's afraid of water and they gotta deal with it and then this happens. Mm-hmm. And, it's whatever.
Yeah,
but
they fight a giant sea monster at the end. Bait almost gets eaten. The glow frog, his name is Bait because he's so delicious.
Apparently, yeah.
He falls in the water and almost gets eaten.
Somebody should eat that frog.
Yes. So, while all this is happening... I said that weird. While all this is happening, Viren sends out Claudia and Soren to track down the missing princes.
And specifically to report back about their deaths. And if you find them alive, kill them.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't say that.
He says that.
He implies it strongly.
He does everything but say those exact words.
Yeah.
But I mean, Soren, to his credit, understands, which is something I didn't think he would.
Yeah. It takes him a while. Like, he almost has to flat out say it. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, what if I found him alive? And he's like,
you'll do the right thing. He's like, the right thing? I don't know if I can do that. Because he knows what he's being asked to do. Yeah. At this point, like...
And like I said, it kind of is like an antagonistic older brother relationship that he has with Callum.
Yeah. And like at this point, I want to ask, because like my favorite thing about this show so far might be this question: who are the bad guys?
By the end of this season, Viren, I think it's fair to say, is a bad guy. And that's it.
Well, because we established right away...
And Callum.
Because we established right away that both the king and Viren they're basically good people that want to do good things, but they went about it in really bad ways that are like... They're like... They can't go back on. And like...
And we'll get to it, but by the end of the season, Viren has literally become a monster.
Yeah.
And he sent out Claudia and Soren to execute the two heirs to the throne so that he could take it.
Yeah.
But so he is clearly a bad guy.
Here's the thing, like we see early on, Viren like he thinks dark magic is worth it because of the things it allows him to do. And as long as he can use dark magic, he can basically help the human kingdom. So, like, he's a very the ends justify the means sort of guy.
Yes.
But he still has that air of, like, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to do right by my king and my kingdom and my children. I don't necessarily believe he loses that by the end of the season.
Not at all.
I think he just like it becomes easier and easier to justify more and more things the deeper and further you go. So like he's descending further down, but still believes he's doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a complicated villain, but he's still a villain.
Oh yeah,
Lex Luthor is a can justify his actions. That doesn't mean he's not Lex Luthor, the villain of Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like his kids, like Soren. Like, I don't like Soren, but I feel like he's kind of like, he's a lovable dope that doesn't know what the right thing to do is.
Yes.
Claudia is one of the best characters in this show. Smile ear to ear every time she's on screen, being quirky. I think she has the highest potential to be an out-and-out evil person.
I think so, absolutely. Like, I think she is going to be the biggest villain of the show.
I think we're going to find out that, like, she is so much worse than her father, but she's always just sort of been living in this kind of docile, peaceful place.
I don't think at the moment she is worse. I think we're going to see her make that transformation, though. Which
is great, because she's super goofy and lovable.
Yeah.
But, like, you have to think about the fact, like, oh, wait, her answer to everything is dark magic.
Yeah.
And she thinks everything that entails is fine.
Wouldn't it be great if the end of the show we realized dark magic was awesome?
Yeah.
And like it really is the answer to all your problems.
Yeah.
And there's no cost. Viren's just a jerk and has been doing it wrong.
But it's like there's no cookie cutter like good guys, bad guys in the way that you expect a show that has dark and light magic to have.
Yeah.
And, like, even the good guys, like Callum, you've been talking about, like, you don't like Callum at all.
He has good points, but for the most part, I think he's an unlikable protagonist.
I agree. Well, I partially agree. I could, like, because of the way he is clearly infatuated with Claudia, I could, and he's coming into his own by embracing the literal power and weapon Claudia uses. Like, he's kind of becoming more like her. So I could see him kind of, like, you want a heel turn, I could see him...
That would be amazing.
I could see him going over to their side at some point. Cool. Especially if they play up something with his parentage or something. I don't know. Yeah. But, yeah, like, I feel like because he is just like... Well, let me ask you this. Because I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place.
No, it's fine.
But is Callum the protagonist of this show?
I think so. In season 1, I'm going to say yes.
I kind of think Raela is.
I think it's split between the two of them, but I think for the most part you're supposed to relate to Callum more.
I think you're supposed to relate to him, but at the same time, when you break it down, those three.
It's the three of them.
It's the three of them. So Ezrin, his whole motivation is we gotta bring the baby back to its mom. Mm-hmm. Callum's whole motivation is we gotta stop this war. Raela's motivation is we gotta stop this war. We have to reform society. I have to redeem myself. I have to make up for the failings of my parents who have been disgraced in their duties. She has so much more going on as a character. It's kind of ridiculous.
Also, when you think about... It's hard not to compare the show to the previous Avatar shows. The previous shows that these creators have worked on. I wouldn't be surprised if Ezrin takes the lead.
Yeah.
At a certain point. If we see these characters grow up and Ezrin kind of takes the stage more.
Yeah.
Because in this show, he's kind of just... There have been episodes where, like, you could tell me that in episode 3 he doesn't have a line, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, realistically, he's there to carry the egg.
Yeah.
And, like you could do most of this season with just Callum and Raela.
Mm-hmm. He could be replaced with a backpack.
Yeah! Yeah.
And that makes me think that they have a plan for him down the line.
Yeah.
He's going to do something very important.
Yeah, especially if his brother kind of moves out of the way and goes somewhere dark.
Mm-hmm. Like, I bet Soren and Claudia... Because there was a scene when Viren is sending them out, and he talks to Soren, and he tells them, you'll do the right thing. Once you find them, you'll kill these kids. And then he has to talk with Claudia. And he tells Claudia, if Soren can't do it, you know what you have to do. he kind of tells her that. Or
she jokingly asks him, he tells her, look, the most important thing you have to worry about is bring back that egg, no matter what. And she jokingly said, okay, but if I have to choose between the egg and saving my brother, what should I do? And he's like, the egg.
Yeah.
Bring back the egg.
Yeah.
And so, I could almost see, both of them switching. So, I could see Soren defecting over to the quote-unquote good guys. I could see Callum going to the quote-unquote bad guys.
Yeah, I could actually see that too. I think he's gonna show up and he can't do it. She's there and kill him, fucking kill him.
Yeah,
and he can't do it. And then maybe I don't know. Maybe Callum attacks. Something happens, and they end up switching sides.
I could almost see Claudia and Callum doing something so evil that Viren is whoa, hang on a second here. This isn't what this was supposed to be. And she's just you never had enough vision, Dad.
I want to see a weird, crazy, dark magic sex Jacob's Ladder scene between Callum and Claudia, where it's it looks like just a pile of snakes covered in oil, and you can't really see what's happening, and there's a lizard tail. And then there's another dragon egg.
You know what? Season 4. God, Jesus. So everything, we're kind of moving along through the forest and whatever. That tracker fights Rayla, and he figures out that she hasn't told the kids about their dad. Who's
she also tells him that they're with him willingly.
Yeah.
And he said, "Why would they be with him willingly? Oh, you haven't told.
Yeah,
you haven't told them yet.
Yeah, they would never trust you.
Yeah.
If they knew, and she's got that burden of knowing their dad's a bird now. I swear to God, he's gonna be a bird.
In the beginning, it sounded so plausible, but the more we talk about it, the more ridiculous it
Mark my words, Rob. He's gonna be a bird.
So
he'll talk eventually.
So they're kind of starting to notice that the thing on her arm is getting tighter and tighter.
Yeah, her skin is blood's being cut off. Her skin's turning darker there. She can't use her hand for very much.
Yeah. Is this when they just walk across a frozen lake?
Yes.
Okay.
They were going to take an easier path, but Rayla, in a very smart move, I think, was no, this path is too easy. It's trampled down a lot. It's a well-traveled path. We stay on here, we might get seen. So let's go up this harder to traverse path.
Yeah.
And they end up going across this frozen lake, and Ezrin falls in with the egg.
Yeah.
Or the egg falls in, and Ezrin jumps in after it.
Yeah.
And, they get him out, but...
he was in there for a while.
Yeah.
And the whole time I kept thinking Rayla was looking at that bracelet come on. He was just looking at her hand come on, any second now.
But they get him out, but the egg, which is usually quite glowy, isn't glowing quite so much anymore.
Yeah.
And they decide to take it to a vet, and so they find a town, and they try and they find this animal doctor, and they're like, "Hey, can you do anything about this egg?" Yes, it's a dragon egg. Shut up.
At this point, I think she has. They've had kind of a heart to heart. Because, they apologized and they said, this is all my fault because, he fell in because they didn't trust her to take the egg.
Yeah.
So they were arguing about that, and she said, look, no, this is my fault. I didn't tell you about this because, the reason that this binding is tightening on my wrist is because it's elven magic. I had another one, but it fell off because I was supposed to kill your father. That means that your father's dead.
And did she tell him that she's supposed to... The other one is because...
Of Ezra. Yeah. And he
okay.
said, this is going to keep tightening until it cuts off my hand, but I'm willing to pay that price. That's what she said. Because once they get to the town, there is a guy challenging people to a fight, with a... What's it called?
Like a Sunforge
Yes,
knife?
it's like Sunforge or Sunfire, something like that.
It's basically, it's a knife with runes on it that enchant it so that it forever stays as hot as it was when it was forged, which is a cool explanation for a fire knife.
Yes, and it can cut through anything.
So she's like, okay, hey man, let me use your knife. He's like, oh sure. Wait a second, you're an elf. He's like, shut up, let me use your knife. He's like, I'm gonna fight you, elf. And she like punches him in the face, takes his knife, and tries to use it. And she's like, god damn it doesn't work. Nothing cuts through this. So she gives the knife back, which is very nice.
It is, yeah.
But like the boys find out that, look, there's nothing I can do. No one knows how to treat a dragon egg. They don't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. But I heard about this miracle child. So like they like go and they find out like this girl, you know, she adopted this little wolf cub that only had 3 legs. Her parents were going to put it out of its misery because it's one too many mouths to feed, and it could never be accepted by the pack again because it's a deformity. So she runs into like this forbidden mountain jungle.
She climbed up the Mouth of Horrors.
Yeah.
It's the most haunted mountain in the world.
Yeah, like the cursed something or other.
Yeah. And
she's found this like miracle healer that gave the dog a leg back. And she's like, here, you gotta go there, maybe it can help this egg. So the 3 of them, eventually, like, the little girl and the wolf come too.
They go and they talk to the little girl, and she's adorable, and the dog is awesome. It's like twice the size of her,
yeah,
and she rides it around like a horse.
Yeah.
She was my favorite character in this show, and I hope she sticks around next season.
She's probably, like, I'm still thinking of this in kind of Avatar terms. I'm like, she's kind of the Toph, right?
She rides her dog like a horse. She has to stick around.
Yeah. They eventually get to the spot where they've met the healer. And the healer shows up because they had no plan. They're like, hey, let's just go find this tree and just hope something happens.
Yeah.
And it ends up being this...
Rayla recognizes her first. He's like, oh man, she's just an illusion witch. This is bullshit.
And it turns out, like, the dog never got a leg back. She just cast, like, a really good illusion that you can touch to make everybody think it had a leg back so that, you know, people would accept the dog. And, you know, that's nice.
Yeah.
It worked. But, you know, what are we going to do about this dragon egg? The only thing we can do is hatch it, but you need a storm to hatch it. Meanwhile, Best Boy is like, hey, wait a second. I have a storm in this ball.
Looks at the ball, looks at the egg, looks at the ball, looks at the egg. This goes on for 5 minutes. And I'm like, wait a second.
And without saying a word to anybody, just smashes it, nearly murders Rayla.
Ezrin falls off a cliff and is dead.
like seriously, like the egg almost blows away, but Rayla catches it. Then, like, bits of tree keep hitting Rayla in the bad arm. Eventually the eye of the storm, like, settles and the egg does hatch. At first it doesn't, and then I'm like, oh my god, are they really just gonna have this be for nothing? What are they gonna do in book 2? But the egg hatches, and it's a dragon, and it's adorable.
It's very cute.
It's very princely.
Mm-hmm.
And
how can you tell it's a baby?
You know.
Was it wearing a baby crown? I didn't know.
Yeah, it had one of them, their Princess Peach crowns. Yeah.
It became Dragonette.
It hatched and Bowsette came out.
And everyone just masturbated. But it hops up to Rayla and like it chirps a little bit, and then it bites the binding on her wrist, and it pops right off.
Which, okay, I guess they had to get rid of that, but
whatever. Show.
I mean, it was way too easy, and part of me was like, what if they had to like just see this through? What if she lost her hand and had to replace it somehow?
That would be really cool.
Like we could have had like Rayla with some sort of like bullshit hand made of wind or something.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been awesome.
And we don't need to see her slowly lose her hand. Just come back next season and, like, a month has passed and she has a hand. Her hand's gone.
I really do wonder if this show is going to embrace time skips.
Yeah.
And if so, when?
Probably in between seasons is my guess.
Well, I mean, like, it would make a lot of sense based on how this season ends for them to pick up right from that point next season. But, like, they should get to, like, a big turning point and then skip forward a few years, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Like when we eventually realize that Claudia and Callum are the most evil people in the universe. But,
after the snake orgy.
Yeah, after the snake orgy, yeah.
We should also mention that Claudia cast a spell, and it shot like a firework over the main team's position.
Yeah.
So they know where they are now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much that's going to help them, because you got to climb down this one mountain, travel a few days, and climb up this other mountain.
Yeah.
And by then they'll be gone. But maybe, like, because the thing they used in the spell was Raela's braid that got shot off at the house.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just now Raela is perpetually tagged.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
But yeah, like, the big kind of cliffhanger is, yeah, we got the dragon prince, and he's hatched, and now we can, I guess we can, I don't know how close they are to the place they're going, but
I have no idea.
we don't have, we've made progress, I guess. Can that illusionist...
They also floated down a river for a while,
Yeah.
and then fell down a waterfall, and then they had to climb this mountain, which was definitely not on the way. They could have turned around a couple times.
Like, hopefully this illusion lady who has, like, a flying dragon or something can just give them a ride.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's kind of where they leave it. Like, we've made progress more as people than anything else.
I agree.
In fact, it might be significantly harder now that they have a baby dragon to hide.
Yes. But I'm interested to see what they do next.
Does it think that glow toad is its mother? Will it start acting like a toad?
Will it eat the toad? It is delicious.
Yes.
Oh, also, Viren tortured and killed a bunch of elves, and now looks very monstrous.
Yeah, well, he does the thing where he turns his bookcase around, and there's, like, a bunch of glowing butterflies, which I believe he is draining the life force out of them to keep looking like a normal person. Because when he doesn't do that, or he uses too much dark magic, he kind of looks kind of
Frankenstein-y?
Kind of Frankenstein-y, like he's got, like, his skin is gray and kind of rock looking.
Yeah.
And his eyes are red and, bleeding black. And, as you do.
Yeah.
And he's also has captured the interpreter guy whose name I forget.
Yeah. General, what's her name?
He's
General
not up
Amaya's interpreter.
Yeah, and he convinced her to go back and protect the borders, because without her there, they might be breached, and then everything is lost. So he's like, but I'll find the kids. Trust me.
Yeah. He said that the interpreter will be in charge of the expedition because that's what she wanted, and then he just locked him up in the dungeon.
Immediately.
Yes.
And also, there's this thing in play, which is this mirror, which is it's apparently when, like, the Dragon King was killed, this was, like, the closest to its bedchamber or something, and
it's a tiny mirror for a giant dragon.
Yeah, and, like, it's covered in runes. No one knows what it does. Viren and Claudia have been trying to figure out. They can't. He brings it to Runen, the elf kill man, and it's like, all you have to do is just tell me what this does. That's all I want. And he takes one look at the mirror and he's like, you found something worse than death. That's all he says.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the fuck this mirror does, but I don't know if it's in every episode, but in the end credits to the final episode, it shows, like, a bunch of, like, parchment sketches of characters and stuff. There's a sketch of the mirror, and, like, there's, like, a shadowy hand pressing against the glass from the other side of the mirror.
Ooh, that's cool.
And I don't know who or what. I didn't count fingers or anything. I don't know what. Something is in that fucking mirror.
Yeah, I gotta start watching the credits things.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of things come through in credits.
So Viren is basically... So where we're left is there's some horrific mirror that will do something someday. Viren is technically in charge of this kingdom and can't be... Go on.
What if they hold the mirror up to the bird and it's just like the king's face and he's like, help, get me out of here.
Yes. He just flaps.
Yes.
Viren wants the kids dead so he can become the king for real. Claudia and Soren are hot on the trails of the kids. The kids have the hatched dragon prince. They are probably still significantly far away from their destination. And even when they reach their destination, who knows how much it'll actually matter.
And now Callum has no ability to do magic.
That's right. Well, he has that box, and we still don't know what that box does. Because it's like, it looks like a little wooden toy. On each side is a different symbol for an elemental source of magic. At different times, one of those symbols will light up for some reason. Mm-hmm. We have no idea how or why yet, or what that means.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. This gets a season 2.
It has to. It has to.
Now they confirmed that live-action Avatar The Last Airbender show.
Yeah, who cares, though?
I know. I'm just saying, like, maybe they're like, well, we can stop doing this.
What did you think? So, two things. What did you think of the animation in the show, and what do you think of the humor in this show?
I thought the animation was a little strange at first, but I got used to it pretty quick, and I ended up liking it.
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer for this show, I reloaded YouTube like 4 times because I thought, oh, something's wrong with my internet connection or something. But then it's like, oh wait, no, that's just how this is.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's like, it's hitchy, and it's like there's frames of animation missing, except for like parts where it's super fluid. Yeah. Like in the first episode, the king unsheaths his sword, swings it around, and it looked amazing. I'm like, wait, let me watch that again. That was actually smooth. And it's like, I don't think it was a stylistic choice. It felt like we couldn't afford to do it better.
No, I think that was stylistic.
Was it?
Because when it matters, it looks good.
But why would you not want it to look good all the time?
Because I don't think it looks bad. I think it's more like a storybook almost.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I took away from it. It's almost like, yeah, I don't know. It's like paintings or a storybook. It's not always fluid, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I also spent the day watching a bunch of episodes of the Netflix show Hilda, which is...
How is that?
That is fantastic.
Okay, I gotta watch
that. Better than this. It also embraces a very cartoony, kind of storybook feel, like fairy tale storybook feel, but it conveys that entirely through its art style, not through the animation is still smooth as hell, but it's the art style and the way the outlines of things behave, cool. Especially on close-ups that reinforce that kind of feeling they're going for. So it was just weird. My instinct is to look at the animation in Dragon Prince and think, oh, they didn't do this right.
I really think it was a stylistic choice.
I'll be interested to see if season 1 performs really well, which I think it has, mm-hmm. If season 2 comes along and it still looks the same, or if it's been smoothed out.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to say.
Yeah. What about the humor?
The humor was pretty hit or miss.
I think there was way too much.
Yeah.
It was everybody was on all the time.
Yeah.
If you want to have fucking Claudia yucking it up all the time because that's her personality, that's one thing. But you can't then have everyone else be like that.
Yeah.
You want to you want to have Soren tell jokes sometimes, that's fine. He's he's kind of a dude bro who happens to be a knight.
Yeah.
You know? Like, lean into that a little more.
And I like whenever Claudia and Soren are joking around with each other.
Yeah, like when they're on horseback, he's behind her and he's like, "Oh my god, your horse just farted." She looks back, like, it wasn't the horse.
Yeah.
Like they figured out how to insert a fart joke into their story without ruining it.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
My problem with that scene is that was the whole scene.
Yeah.
If there was more to that, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
I didn't need to cut away from the story to see that.
Yeah.
To see Claudia fart in her brother's face. It's like, alright. Guess that happened. But yeah, I agree. They need to cut back on the jokes and just, not make everyone so jokey all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it reminds me of criticisms of the first Deadpool movie, where it's like, it's a joke every 10 seconds, and who cares if the last one landed? How about this 7?
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like the same thing with early Family Guy, where it's like, okay, we're just gonna keep doing thing after thing after thing after thing, and as long as some of them make you laugh, that's good enough.
Yeah, and this is kind of that, except it's also trying to tell an important story.
Like, well, I wonder if they're trying to give contrast to like the obscene bleakness of the story of the world and what's happening in it.
Yeah, that could be. But like, it would be fine if they just did that with, Claudia.
Yeah,
she's maybe they're doing that because all of these characters are going to be monsters by the end of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that they're trying to endear Claudia to us so that her turn is that much more powerful.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Just like how I'm sure, like, they want us to think of Callum as your stock protagonist so that they can do something dark with him later that we wouldn't see coming. Mm-hmm. That's why I still think Raela's probably actually the protagonist of this show.
That's probably true, yeah. It's really hard to tell because they gave us these 3 characters that the show focuses on very heavily. And anything could happen with any of them.
Yeah. I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure Avatar voice actors are in this. Callum is just straight up Sokka.
Yeah.
And I think Ezrin sounds like Aang to me. I don't know, but I think I
can see that.
And I don't know about anybody else, but those were the 2 that really jumped out at me. And that's cool. I like having them back. It makes sense they'd be here.
It does. It's a very good show. I can't wait to see what happens with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm very hopeful, and I'm just glad they were able to deliver something as complex as this.
Yeah.
But that still feels like it's complicated and simple at the same time, but in just the right way that it's a good introduction that's setting up a lot of better stuff down the road while also being good by itself.
Yes. We're putting a lot of stock in that this show will get better down the line, and I really hope that's true.
Yeah, well, it's like everything they talk about in episode 1 is very different from the content we got in the preceding 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And we'll get there, but I'm waiting for the content of a full season to live up to what we've only heard about.
Yeah.
Like everything, the weight in the words of the king is the kind of things I want to see our protagonists engage with directly.
Yeah. And I hope they get there.
Yeah. And I hope they get there without it being reduced to simple good guys, bad guys.
It does not seem like that kind of show.
Cool.
All right. Anything else to say?
Just the fact that Ezrin having a frog that emits light kind of does position him to be super important in a fight against black magic and darkness.
That's true.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, he has I forget what you... if you say a couple words to it, the frog, it shines super bright and it blinds everyone. It acts as a flashbang.
It puts its fingers across each side of its head and yells solar flare.
It's now Johnny Storm died.
Yes. And, but yeah, no, I look forward to an eventual time skip where we can see what Ezran becomes.
Yeah. After Callum has died.
Because we know...
Due to Claudia's black magic sacrifices.
Because if we know that Bait was born on June 26th...
Why does it have the birthdays?
We don't know his age, but if we look at the fact that Runan is uncle-ish years old... I'm sorry. You have to put... Somewhere in this video, you have to put this picture.
Yeah, I will. I'll put it right here.
Oh, God. Hey, did you know King Dad is 6 foot tall, but 6'2.5" with armor on?
I like that it gives their height with horns, too.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if you had horns, how would you measure your height? Would you go at the top of your head, or would you include the horns?
Well, it has the 2 measurements, so
Well,
I guess, like, on forms, you have to fill that out in
I
this
guess
world.
in terms of, like, designing doorways, you would have to account for the horns, so
Yeah.
that should really be the top of
Not
your
to
height.
mention hats.
Oh boy, do elves have hats, you think?
I mean, they probably have, like, helmets. So.
How do you think hats would be designed differently if everybody had horns instead of not horns?
I think they would probably just be intelligently placed holes.
You think so? Would
I
they
think so.
would they be like more like designed to go around? Like would they just be kind of like middle of the head things that kind of go out at the back?
I'm assuming that horns are in one location on everyone's head.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is like fully coolly where like the horn can kind of just be.
We're not gonna
shape.
find any like Tim Curry devils out there.
No.
All right.
I'm picturing. I'm particularly looking at this. Although in this show they have horns on different places in their head too.
It could be a male-female thing.
That's true. Okay, so in that situation, female hats. Although there are gender binary.
Don't
hats.
kink shame.
Yeah. Okay. It's not kink shaming if someone wants to wear a different gender.
Whatever.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, your ivory tower. Jesus.
God. Anyway,
Alex Jones over here.
let's end this episode.
Okay.
Let's get out of here.